story about a place in Connecticut called Norwich. We all know what Norwich means. That's the place where all the crazy people used to hang out. Well, one time they had a place called the Norwich State Hospital where they kept all the crazy people from all over the world. And they were all stationed there just being crazy as always. And then they headed out north. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Well, at the time, we had a governor in the state of Connecticut that decided he wanted to save some money. So he decided he was going to close down this hospital and kick all those crazy people to the curb. Well, he did, and they started traveling north. North, towards Norwich. Well, they just kept on moving. We didn't know where they came from. We didn't know where they were going. But they were here, all for us. Hey! The crazy people! The crazy people!
Good evening. You're listening to Crazy People by a band called White Man Down. I want to tell you a little story about the Norwich State Hospital. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this before. I probably have. But in my younger day, way back when, right after the Covered Wagons, I was in a band. I was like 16 years old. We wore the surfer shirts, that whole deal, So we got a gig, and when our manager told us it was at the Norwich State Hospital, we kind of like looked at him like, well, we wanted to say like, are you crazy? But it was obviously he was. So we went there, and we played a gig in, I don't know, one of the buildings, and we saw some of the craziest stuff you'd ever want to see. I mean, you think people out in public now have some weird dancing? You should check out crazy people when they dance. So we're playing this gig, and we had this lead singer named Charlie, and all of a sudden this dude comes up to the front of the stage, and he goes, "Charlie, is that you?" And he goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Well, why? What are you doing here? You working here?" He goes, "Nah, they put me in here." He says, "For what?" He goes, "I tried to rob a bank with a squirt gun, so they stuck me in here." And the reason I'm telling you that is to show you that as far back as anybody can ever remember, there's been crazy people. Now, there's talk of, I found out today, I swear to God, I did not know this, and it kind of sounds like it's something almost, I don't know, okay is the word or not, but at Lawrence Memorial Hospital, they have a section where there's cells, where they put people in there that are, off their meds or, crazy or in some form of a way or nothing. And I kind of understand that because some people, when they lose it, can be very violent. But I don't know. I just never thought about it being at the hospital. So it seems like, I bet you soon you're going to see state hospitals, maybe not state hospitals, but you're going to see insane asylums around the country that are going to start opening up again because we have a lot of crazy people out there. And rather than leave them on the street, and I mean, you got to really find out if they're really mentally inhibited or whatever. I see, I'm trying to be politically correct, and it doesn't work for me. You got to find out if they're really crazy, and if they are
crazy. Bruce Nolan says crazy hat.
Oh, thank you. It's a good one. And you better hope he wins again, or otherwise we'll all be standing in bread lines. So we have to get some of these people off the streets before they harm anybody else, but there's nowhere to put them. And by not having any place to put them, then that means you can't help them. You can't help some of these people out on the street because they got to be in a different environment. They got to be somewhere where there's people that know more about this stuff than most people, that have degrees in this stuff, and hope that they'll do the right thing by trying to help these people. But you can't do that on the street, and you can't do it in a building in the city, or a couple people in a building behind a couple desks. You need something real. So I can see that coming pretty soon, and I don't really think it's a bad thing. All right, I got a bunch of stuff tonight that, I wasn't going to come in tonight because I wasn't feeling that great. But when you look at the news and you look at the paper, which is, God, how I wish I wasn't addicted to this crap. You get pissed off, and then you just want to speak out, and this is my outlet for speaking out. By the way, I'm Dennis from New London. I should say that in the beginning of the show, but I'm too new at this. Okay, so one of the things that really irks me, and it should irk all of you, and this is not a racist thing, although a lot of people out there think I'm racist, and so be it. I definitely not one to beg for forgiveness. When you're driving at night and you see these people walking around at the last minute and they're all dressed in black or dark clothes of some kind, it's lucky more people don't. It's amazing more people don't get hit. And I don't blame the drivers, because sometimes you can't see. First of all, you're driving down the road, you got somebody coming towards you, and it's usually in big trucks, pickup trucks or whatever. They got these super bright lights, so that's kind of blinding you a little. And then somebody steps off the curb, and you can't. And if there isn't any light in back of them, so you can see a shadow, good chance you're going to hit them. So, they make up all these crazy laws. They should make up something to where you have to wear something that reflects when you're walking around at night. And, if you're dark skinned, you stand more chance, if you're all dressed in black, of getting hit. If you're white skinned, at least you might have a chance to see that person, maybe, depending on what they're wearing and how much they're wearing. So, what I'm trying to say to you folks out there that walk around at night that think that if you get hit by a car, it's automatically going to be the car's fault. Well, that's not true. If you're in a crosswalk, you probably got a good chance of the person in the car getting in trouble. If you just step out from behind two cars in the mid, and there's no crosswalk around, the driver isn't probably going to get blamed for it. So please do yourself a favor and do the drivers out there a favor and wear something so people can see you at night. Because not only do you get hurt, but somebody, if they hit somebody and they kill them, they have to live with that the rest of their life. And it's not fair to them either. And it's not fair to the person getting hit, but I would put the blame on the person that's walking around all dressed in black thinking they're, I don't know what they're thinking. But that's my pet peeve for tonight. All right, so you all seen in the paper about the Coast Guard Museum. Again, 7 years of this crap we've been hearing. And it still hasn't risen. You look at the picture of it, and you can actually see that little bridge coming across from the garage. That's what this is really all about, folks. It's not about the friggin' museum. It's about Ranowski's wanting a bridge over to a free terminal station. And it will be free. And you and me will pay for it. We've shot down this bridge at least 2 times that I'm aware of. And they're bringing it up again. Now, they claim 7 years and they haven't been able to raise $100 million to build this museum. Come on, are you kidding me? How many people out there are millionaires, beyond millionaires? How many actors and actresses out there are filthy rich and they like the military? How many people that are so filthy rich and they're for the military, they can't each write a check for $1 million? 100 people. That's all you would need. You'd have your $1 million, you could start it. You know why it hasn't happened? Because they don't want to start it. This is a scam. I was all for this museum in New London. I really was, and I got a lot of slack for it. But if it had happened the right way, then it would be a big boost to downtown. But, these people in our city government, these councilors, the mayor, none of them, well, the mayor should know this because he's been around a long time, but the councilors, they have no scope of the overall picture of what would be involved in this museum. They haven't a freaking clue. And I challenge any of them to either come on the show or come on my TV show and explain to me what they think this would entail, this museum. I mean, you're downtown at 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. You see what the traffic's like getting out of New London. Them people ain't stopping anywhere. They're going home.
Yeah, right.
You know, they're going home. There's nothing downtown for them to stop for. But now you add to that construction. Do you think they're going to build that museum behind the train station, and there's not going to be anything going on the front side of the train station? Come on, use your brain. Use your God-given common sense. Of course there's going to be. Traffic is going to be a nightmare. They're going to have to reroute everything. They're going to have to reroute roads like they claim they were going to do and never have, which is another problem with New London. They never finish anything they friggin' start. And who do you think's going to pay for that? Do you think that $100 million to build the museum and the bridge and the terminal for Rogowski's ferries, do you think that's going to cover the money that is going to be needed to redo the roads and to redo the whole area around there to make it acceptable for the Coast Guard Academy? Do you really think that? Because if you do, you need to get your head out of wherever you got it, because that ain't what's going to happen. And if anyone tells you differently, ask them to prove it. All right? So let me give you some information on this. Okay. Now, I recently saw this in an article by Dave Collins, and this was years ago, and it's been 7 years about since our first mayor, Finizio, gave the land to the museum to build the Coast Guard Museum. Gave the land to the museum. What has that done for us? Not a friggin' thing. Now, when this thing is built, you know the bridge and the terminal that Rogowski's will use more than the Coast Guard's going to use is going to be probably tax deductible, because they're going to put it all under the museum. Now, we're paying, man, God, you folks know how much money we pay for stuff that doesn't even, all it does is hurt us. It doesn't affect anything good for us. I mean, they're going to tell you all the businesses it's going to bring in. Yeah, if it was to happen, but it's not happening. So let me give you a little rundown here. Okay, so in 7 years, they got $20 million from the state for the bridge. They got let's see here. They got, I think it was $50 million from the government in one way or another. Plus, if this $1 trillion bill goes through with the lawmakers, that they're going to get another $50 million to do this, which I had always thought. And when they were going to put it in help me out here, K-Man. What's the place down there with the fort? Fort Trumbull. Thank you.
Fort Trumbull.
Thank you. We were told that it had to be private donations, that the government would not spend money on something like that. That it's not part of the government to produce that money. Now it seems that, hey, we got all these Democrats in office, so it's different now, you know. We'll pass $1 trillion bill, and we'll give the Coast Guard $50 million, and we'll stick another $100 million in our pocket, and then we'll give another little bit here, and we'll stick another little bit more there, and that goes on all the time. Sometimes with everybody. But anyway, so back to my phone would stay in one spot. It would make this a lot easier. Okay, so I don't know if you're aware that there's a board of people that are running the whole raising money and the whole Coast Guard Museum thing. I don't know how many there are, but these people get paid. Now, there's nothing going on down there for them to get paid for. I mean, they've been doing their job for 7 years. They've been getting paid for 7 years, and nothing has been accomplished in 7 years. That's a really cool gig. I want some of that gig. It says they have raised less than $25 million, and the amount committed from state and local governments is $50 million. So that means us, by the way, in case you're not aware of that. I know you're all aware of that. I mean, you know, we're not all that stupid in New London. But just so you know, that's our money, because nobody's pulling it out of their pocket in the State Department. Okay, so moving along here. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. So, please call back.
Is not. I think the no robo got him.
Oh. So expenses for 2019, according to the tax return, included $1.4 million in employees' compensation and benefits. That's a nice little gig, huh? Don't you think? According to the return, the chief development made $220,000 a year. The president made $155,000. The chief finance officer made $101,000, and the head of communications, who has never returned his calls at the time this was written, made $105,000. You add that up. Somebody out there know any math? Add it up. See what it comes to. Probably almost $1 million a year. So that's $7 million right there. For what? What have they done? What have they done? Don't anybody out there care? I mean, this is crazy. This is downright crazy. I don't understand why people in London just let things go. They just let it go. Okay. So, if this thing gets started, and you know what they'll probably do? They'll probably start with the terminal, break ground or something, and then the next thing you're going to do, before anybody has a chance to say or do anything, is they're going to start construction on that bridge. Because I'm believing that what this really is all about now, and like I said in the beginning, I was all for this, but the longer that I've got to see it go on, and the more things I hear, I think this is more about getting Renowski's a brand new terminal and a bridge to get people over there, which isn't going to work. I can guarantee you that bridge isn't going to work. And if you saw pictures of it, it's all glass. Even the columns going up to the bridge are glass. That'd be nice if a car crashes into it. That'd be nice. Like, who's going to... And you got to realize that the city of New London is hooked on paying people to keep it clean, paying people for security. That all falls on us. So we're paying. Right there, we're paying. And who do you think are going to get them jobs? And how are you going to keep the homeless out of these places? I mean, there was recently an article in Wales Tale 2, great article, about the police department and the people they're losing. More and more and more. So who's going to be around for security? Why can't the Coast Guard do security? They have their own security force. Nobody? And Rogowski's, they could hire someone to keep it clean. I understand also, this I'm not 100% sure of, so you might want to check with someone who thinks they know more than me. There's going to be no air conditioning in this place. When you got 90 degrees weather outside and you're walking through a tunnel of glass, all right, here's a trick question. Use your common sense. Do you think it will be hotter? I think it will be hotter. Now, you got somebody that comes off the train and they walk around. They're going to go over to the bridge, which is going to be probably 3 or 4 stories high, if not more. Because you got to realize this bridge has got to go over the high wires for the trains, which is very electrified. I mean, if you want to see God real quick, grab a hold of one of them wires. So you got a family. Well, you got some old people. They got carrying luggage. They're going to go over to this elevator, hoping the elevator is going to work. I know I sound negative, but you know, people out there who see things going on and never think of a negative side of it are just plain stupid. Because if it's going to work and it's going to be something good, then it will be something good. If it's going to work and it turns out to start out good, and then you run into problems that you didn't anticipate, well, you should have tried to anticipate those problems before and have a solution before, not after the fact when everything will cost more. All right. So I used to park right next to in the front of the city parking garage, and I used to work nights, and I would see the people coming and going from the train station. 9:30 at night was a key time. You had all kinds of people coming off the ferries. You had all kinds of people coming from the trains. They would walk around the buildings. And you know what they would do? They didn't even care about the crosswalk. Straight across the street. Straight to the garage. Not going up 3 or 4 stories, walking across a bridge, and coming down who knows how many stories to get to their car. They're not going to do that. Maybe in a torrential rainstorm they might, but they're not going to do it on a regular nice night. Just ain't going to happen. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. It's going to be money that we're going to waste, just like the money they wasted in Norwich on the bus terminal. You know, the one that's empty now, brand new, empty. And then another thing. They wanted our city, I believe, our city council and the mayor and the people that are involved in this museum want to rush it through as fast as they can. And you know why? Because you, the public, do not have a chance to speak on this. You will not have a chance to vote on this. You will not have a chance to say anything unless you pick up a phone and get on one of those stupid Zoom meetings where you may have 20 people, and how many of them are for it and how many of them are friends. You're not going to have people there that have a legitimate idea or want to know what if. You don't have that. And don't tell me you do, because you're full of shit. You don't have it. All right, so they have to get this done before they open up council meetings. I drove by City Hall today on the way here, and the lights are on in the city council chambers. I don't know why, because supposedly nobody can go in there. But aren't you folks sick of having all this stuff go down and not have a word, not have a say in it? Why isn't our council chambers open? Can anybody tell me that? And don't tell me it's because people are working on the place on the inside, because I never see any work trucks there. You people should be furious. $30 million for a recreation center that was supposed to be a community center, okayed by the council. Did you get a chance to vote on it? We got a chance with a lot of fighting to vote on $168 million for schools, half of schools. Did you get a chance to vote on this rec center? Did you get a chance to vote on any of this stuff to do with the college? I mean, with the Coast Guard? You're not getting a chance to say or vote on anything for the last 2 years. Nothing, except for an election. Which, what did that solve? Didn't solve a damn thing. We're in the same spot we were back then. Nothing. We are being ripped and raped so bad, and you people sit around and you just accept it. What's it going to take for you to start demanding stuff from the very people that work for you? It's not like they don't work for you. You pay them. Even the council you pay. And they were the ones that decided to raise how much money they got. Not you. You didn't get to vote on it. I know the charter says they can. But still, it would have showed... I can't think of the words. It would have showed you how much the council cared about you if they said, let's put this on the next vote on raising our fees. Even though they can, it would have been a nice gesture. But no. So, I think, unless something else pops in my head, that's about all I got for the Coast Guard Museum. And folks, you gotta... I don't know how to get through. This is not going to be a cut and dry thing. They're not just going to say, okay, we're going to build it. A magical bridge is going to appear. A terminal is going to appear. And this big, huge Coast Guard glass building is going to appear, which, by the way, the picture I'm looking at right now looks like it belongs to the Mohegans. And then that's going to appear. The Eagle will be anchored there. Well, that's kind of cool. And then another thing with this. I mean, I had a counselor tell me one time, this is back when it was first being talked about, and I said, there's going to be a lot of problems with this. And they said, well, these are the kind of problems you want. And I understood what he was saying. It didn't sound that great, but I understood what he was saying. These are the kind of problems that if everything goes right, and everything is done, and everything looks great, and it's operating, and it's bringing people in, it's a good thing. But But you can't take away from the different things that our city lacks and the amount of change our city is going to have to go through. You got all these storefronts that are empty, and they're praying that this is the silver bullet that's going to bring people in and fill up all them stores. So when people come to the museum, they can walk around New London and go to all these stores and do all these wonderful things and all that. If you don't have them when this is built, they're going to do the same thing that the EB people are doing. They're going to come, they're going to go to the museum, they're going to leave the museum, get in their car, their bus, their train, their boat, whatever, and they're going to leave. That's it. They're going to leave. Because, people don't hang out in bars as much anymore that have to drive any distance. So let me ask somebody out there to text in, how is our city... Okay, before I do that, they claim, which I think is a way high estimate, but they claim it could bring in over 750,000 people a year. I don't believe that. But if they bring in 500,000 people, that's a lot of people. So they're going to get here by car, they're going to get here by bus, they're going to get here by train, which is probably the most logical way for them to get here is by train, but you can only do that in so many areas, and probably by boat. So where are the buses and where are all these cars going to park? Huh? I mean, we already have parking lots that, they can only hold so many more. Some of the parking lots we have two major parking lots, and then we have, parking story lots, I'll call them. And we have a couple parking lots, which after redesigning one of them, we lost 40 spots, which was a really good idea. This is what I'm talking about. You invest in stuff and you don't think down the road. So it's a great looking little parking lot, and it has a little statue of a naked woman, and there's a little flagpole.
The mermaid statue.
The mermaid. But when you come out of them parking lots, you can't see shit coming because they got all this fancy little brickwork. They didn't need the friggin' brickwork. And we didn't need all the stuff in the middle that they did. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, somebody crashed into it.
Yeah, I know. I heard. I think you showed a video of that at one time.
Oh, it's right here. Well, I think I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Show them what I'm talking about.
Well, first you can see the marks. You can see the marks on the base of the statue. The white mark down below. That's from this drunk driver that originally hit it. But yeah, he smacked into the monument or the statue or whatever it is, and this is what you can find in New London, guys. People like this.
And he's lucky, that the cars weren't coming down that street when the light went green up by Caruso's music store. Which,
Yep.
by the way, folks, if you want a beautiful sounding and looking piano, that's the spot to go. Anyways, so back to parking. Now, I know EB has reserved a number of parking spots in the city parking garage. So that's probably going to leave out a lot. There's really nowhere down there where you can put more parking. You can't... I don't know if you can go up on the city parking lot now. Then you have Cornish's parking lot. If that thing was full, and no disrespect to Mr. Cornish, I think it needs work. Now, the state might come in and give money to that parking lot or buy it outright from them and do something. But that's it. That's it. You're going to get people parking in the street to go to the museum and all kinds of stuff. So between the people that work downtown and park in the streets and the people that would be coming to the museum parking in the streets, it's, I don't know. It's just going to be a nightmare. Unless you can put together a committee, which you shouldn't have to put a committee together. The councilors should be doing this, and the mayor, and whoever officials you might need, and sit down and seriously look at this as a whole plan, and then present it to the people of New London. We need to be more involved in our city. We should not be in a position to where you do everything, and we never know what you're doing until after the fact. That is not the way the system is supposed to work. And you know that, which tells me, if you know that you're being dishonest and disgenuine. So please, these people on the council and the mayor, I have nothing against them personally. I know sometimes it sounds like I do, but I don't. But there's things that they do that make me feel like, God, they must think I'm stupid. That's insulting. That's very insulting. All right. All right. Enough on that. So you all know now that we have our first Muslim in the State House of Representatives in Connecticut. Her name's Khan. Okay, now, before you all go crazy, at this point in time, I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, there's enough Muslims probably in our state and throughout the rest of the country that should be represented in some way. But I want to wait and see if she's going to be like those other 4 idiots we have in our national government, and you all know who they are. I want to see if she's going to not only represent her people, but she's going to represent the rest of the people in our state. If it turns out to be another situation to where, she starts bad-mouthing our country, or she starts bad-mouthing Connecticut, or whatever, and, gets in there just for Muslims alone, that's not going to cut it. That shouldn't happen. So we'll wait and see what happens. So here's a little one for you. I love it when I see this crap. This is another one of Biden's ideas that Trump already had.
Quick question.
Yes.
Someone wrote, "Let's go, Brandon." What the hell does that even mean?
From what I understand was there was a race, and stock car race, and one of the drivers' names was Brandon, and I think he won. But I think he won. But anyways, they started, and then something to do with Biden, and they started, instead of calling him, because everybody was freaking him out about, F you Biden. That was, remember when that was going on?
Yeah.
Everybody got, the Democrats and the woke people, they got all freaking upset about that.
Yep.
You could say that about Trump, but you can't say about Biden. But anyways, so instead of saying F you Biden, they started saying, let's go Brandon. Now, some people said they were saying it about the race car driver. Let's go Brandon. Let's go Brandon. And then it got switched around to where they started calling Biden Brandon. Now, I saw a little thing, a cartoon, where Mrs. Biden wrote on it, and she said, "Please, folks, stop calling my husband Brandon. He thinks his name is Brandon now."
That's crazy.
So this idea that your president, because he sure as hell ain't my president. Unfortunately, I got to go along with all the shit that's happening because of him. But he's saying that the way to curb inflation in our country is to bring back the jobs from overseas and bring them back into our country. Does that sound a little bit familiar? Does it? Just like he wanted to spend more money on the wall till his people started telling him, you can't do that. That's what Trump wanted to do. So, this man is hurting us so much. And I'm not speaking as a Trump supporter now. I'm speaking as a United States supporter. Everything he does costs us money. Aren't you people tired of paying the kind of prices that we have to pay for gas? And then the latest statement out of that woman's with the red hair's mouth is that, well, the oil companies had leases and whatever going. They could have been pumping oil. No, they couldn't. They lie. They lie so much worse than anybody. I didn't think anybody would beat Obama as a liar. But, man, this guy's got it down. And we're paying for everything. They want to pass immediately $14 trillion for the Ukraine. From where? From us. How much do you think we can pay? How many people don't work or are working under the table? So that just leaves us either on Social Security or have a job. It's costing us. And this guy prints money like it's going out of style. Pretty soon it's going to be about as worthless as the ruble in Soviet Union. And we let it go on. If you're a politician, the reason you're a politician is because at one point it used to be you wanted to help people. It wasn't about going in with $300,000 in your bank account and then 4 years later you come out and you got $3 million in your bank account and you're doing the same job at $177,000 a year. Huh? How's that work? Or do you even care? How much more money can you afford to give to a government, especially this one we have now? How much more can you afford to give? What you know, you saw here when I was a kid, I used to hear, well, you know, this is going to hurt our kids when they grow up, and then their kids when they grow up, and so forth and so on. Well, what do you think this is going to do to kids that get born after all this? What do you think is going to be waiting for them? Whenever you ever heard a report from anybody in government that has saved the American people money? I heard it sometimes with Trump. I never heard it with Biden, because Biden, he don't know where he is half the friggin' time. So he wants to bring the businesses back. Do you know why the businesses left? Because of taxes and because they couldn't get cheap labor. So Trump's idea was, well, if you want to have a business in Europe or wherever outside of this country, and you don't want to come back and help the people in this country, then you're going to pay a heavy tariff to bring your material into our country. And that caused some companies to come back to the United States because it was cheaper for them. And as far as, you know, wanting cheap labor, well, that's definitely what the Democrats are trying to prove, or Democratic power is trying to prove and trying to get with the people coming across the border. That's cheap labor. You got to understand, the people coming across the border are looking for a better life. I understand that. My ancestors came to America looking for a better life. They weren't given anything, but in order for them to stay here, they had to have someone that was going to put them up, and they had to pay for them. The government wasn't paying them to live here. That's why in the beginning, you know, you had so many businesses that were out in the street because they would do whatever they had to do to make some kind of money. Not like now. You can't keep going down the road of spending money like you had a bunch of it in a bank. You know, anyways, Biden, if he had his way, I honestly think he would adopt a lot of Trump's plans, but he's got people behind him that are giving him, trying to stop him. Gasoline prices are reaching record highs, and boy, they ain't kidding about that shit. I mean, every day it's a new price. And for what? Because we have to pay for oil to Russia, who is turning around and using all that money to fight the Ukraine? You know, I think the best thing to do would be all the countries get together, wipe out Biden, wipe out the president of the Ukraine, because he's not a friggin' hero, folks. The people of the Ukraine that are fighting for their country are the heroes. He's not a hero. He's a puppet. And Putin, pretty soon, the more his country hurts, he's going to end up dangling from a rope like Mussolini did. So,
I have a question.
Sure.
You know, we got countries doing what they want to do, especially countries who have hypersonic nuclear missiles, like Russia.
You know, we don't have any.
Okay. So meanwhile, because we are continuing on with this virtue signaling and this nonsense of Russia's an evil country.
Its leader is.
Meanwhile, in California, gas is going for $7 a gallon. Groceries, the price of groceries are skyrocketing. what the hell is going on? Why is this happening? What does this have to do with Russia? And are we going to be able to sustain our lifestyle?
Do you know what? One reason I heard why this person thinks this is going on is because the Democrats are in such climate control, energy efficient type of thing. I can't. There's a certain name for it. I can't think of it offhand. They are trying to get people to abandon fossil fuels. And this is how they think they can do it. But the problem is going to backfire on them is because they don't have the ability to replace this stuff.
Backfire. How are people going to keep their jobs if it costs $20 a gallon to get to work? They can't.
What about, the truck drivers? Okay, let's take the truck drivers.
Oh, yeah, diesel. Diesel's through the roof.
But you know what, folks out there, and you all know this already, so I'm not telling you anything new, is when their prices go up for their fuel, to get the product to you, you're going to pay for that increase. Every time a business has to pay more to do the same thing they've been doing, you're going to get the bill. We can only take so much.
If things keep on going the way they're going, you are not going to be able to take your boat out this summer.
No.
It'd be $9 a gallon for gas at the marine pumps. You're not going to be able to drive to work. You're not going to be able to feed your family.
You know what?
People are going to be breaking into your home and killing your family just to get a can of mixed vegetables or spinach or.
I'm laughing, but it's not that far-fetched.
Yeah, it's not. It's this. With the way things are going, this could actually happen where, you're locked and loaded in your home just to protect SpaghettiOs.
Do you know what Giggle Harris wants to do? That's my new name for Vice President Harris, Giggles. She wants to pass a bill for, I forget how many trillions of dollars, to increase public transportation of all sorts and all this kind of stuff, but they want to do it with electricity and global warming or whatever the hell else they got that they're trying to do that's not working. That's her solution, or that's probably Biden and the whole Green Party, not Green Party, but the whole Green Deal thing. And they figure people will switch over to that because they can't afford to buy gas. But you know what you're not paying attention to is everybody has a breaking point. You think that January 6th was a breaking point? That was nothing. You start hurting everybody in the country without discrimination, no matter what race you are. When you all and everybody starts hurting, that's when you're going to see a major change. You saw it with COVID. People got to the point where they said, screw this, we're not doing this no more. So COVID's going out of the picture. Now the new thing is spend tons of money for the Ukraine and that whole war over there. Biden better watch what he does, because he could start something that he's not going to be able to finish, that none of us are going to be able to finish, and it can happen. All right, so you all heard. Oh, here's something.
Whoops.
What? What did you do?
I accidentally turned on the LEDs above you.
Oh.
Went green and your shirt went bonkers.
Does it make me look
more
handsome?
It was stupid.
Oh, okay. So, see, I want to talk about Dave Collins for a minute, okay? He's probably, between him and Greg Smith, they're probably only two reporters you really ever hear about in New London. I'm surprised the Day keeps both of them, because they probably want to move out of New London anyways, and that's another story. So he wrote an article today called New Groton City Democrat Chairman Supported Trump. So I wasn't going to bother with this, I said, hell with that, doesn't mean nothing. But then I started thinking about it. Collins is the kind of person, when he writes, you either hate him or you like him. And that's probably what keeps him going. Hate him, like him. I don't hate him on this article, but I want to know what makes this city Democrat a bad person because he supported Trump. Supported Trump in what? I didn't read the whole article, which is my fault. I know, but I'm sure Collins ain't saying that. He's a great guy because Collins, I don't believe, likes Trump and never has liked Trump. Okay, but my point is, why, if you're a Democrat, can't you support someone you believe in? Why, as a Democrat or a Republican, I'm not going to, they're both at fault here. Why is it when you're a Republican or a Democrat or maybe any other party that you can't support somebody else from another party? Why? Are you going to go to hell? I don't think so. Because all you goddamn politicians out there are elected to help the people that voted for you. And if somebody comes up with a great idea that's going to help a majority of the people, then he should be supported or she should be supported. People in our city council and the state of Connecticut, if you're not Democrat, your ideas and your thoughts mean nothing. They don't think you know how to do anything. I've had people on the city council tell me that they would never give a Republican a chance at anything because they don't have ideas. You councilors and you, Mr. Mayor, you're here to help us. You're not here to play politics. Forget the friggin' politics. Leave it at the friggin' door when you go in the council meeting or when you pick up the phone.
The mayor.
So, yeah, the mayor too.
I think the mayor's a joke.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be something good for the city. So instead of, the whole reason behind that, one of the reasons was because whenever somebody came into town, a business or something came into town with an idea that would help us, they had to deal with 7 people. So the idea was to get a strong mayor in there to where they would deal with one person, not 7. Can you imagine someone that's Republican that has a great business idea for the city that's going to make it money and give it taxes going up against a council that is made up of all Democrats? It's not going to happen.
The city council, as far as I'm concerned, is a bunch of evil thugs that have been holding meetings without the public being able to interact because they're hiding behind the COVID-19 deal.
Well, that's running out.
Yeah.
For them. Because the Board of Ed in New London has open meetings. So how do you explain that?
They've been having these little secret meetings and making decisions for the city without interacting with the residents of the city of New London.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting.
It should be illegal.
They're pigs.
It should be illegal.
They're pigs.
Well, that came out of his mouth. I ain't going to call you pig because
Piggies.
I don't know if you're a pig.
Jackasses. Sorry.
And when you have people on the council like Martha Marks, I'll say her name. That's right, I said it. That doesn't want any old white men on any boards or committees. What the hell is that?
Olger.
And then I don't know if she's still in charge of the Democratic Party, but maybe some of these counselors, they're so new at it that they're just following what they're being told to do. And if that is the case, then you should not be a counselor because you're supposed to be up there doing what you feel is right, not what you're being told or what your buddy next to you is doing.
Martha Marks, I was at the last city polling location. I forget where, but I was holding up a sign for one of the individuals who was running, and she walked up to me, and she's like, "You posted this about me on Whaletown."
Well, hey, you're a politician. You know, that comes with the territory. Get over it.
Mitchell Holcomb says this is garbage.
What is garbage?
Apparently what we're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, are you a New London resident?
I don't know.
If you're listening to me, you can answer
If it's
that.
garbage, why don't you just call in?
Yeah, call in. Give me your opinion.
You know, people are funny. They hide behind comments on Facebook, but they don't actually engage.
No, I know. Well, because I don't know. So, here's a letter that was in the paper. I didn't get a chance to read it, so it's as new to me as it is to you. But, you can give me your thoughts on that gentleman that
Said yes.
Yes, what?
Michelle, who's hiding? You call the number. Voice your opinion. Stop making comments.
Okay, this is somebody, Teresa Norris from Mystic wrote this. Okay, among the realities of war in the Ukraine is the power of lies. Many Russian soldiers do not know why they are fighting. They were told they would be liberators or were in the military exercise. Their leaders sent them off to war with a lie. A parallel I draw is the January 6th insurrection, when a mob tried to stop a legal constitutional process, certification that Joe Biden had won the election, not Trump. That action was based on a lie. I see the similarities in Trump lies, and I see the similarities in Putin's lies, as well as their goals and ambitions. They both seek to return a country that no longer exists. They see democracy as something to be feared and controlled. These proposals, destructive lies spread by autocrats, thought their medias are influencing people, actions in extreme ways. In Ukraine, brave citizens recognizing that their democracy and freedoms are being threatened are forced to fight a physical, violent war. In this country, our enemy is not storming our streets, but is storming our minds to forget what our country stands for and what our Constitution has guaranteed. Pray for successfully combat lies with truth and defy the vote. I don't know what vote she's talking about, but I think I agree with what she's saying.
Yeah, but this whole show is garbage.
Well, hey, if you Michelle, if you think the whole show is garbage, you got a couple options. You can keep writing the shit you're writing on the posts. It doesn't bother me. You can call up and talk some real common sense stuff to us,
or you can go shut your face and go back to watching CNN.
Don't go there. Or you can come on this radio show, or I have a TV show that I do tomorrow on Thursday. It's at 7 o'clock. You're more than welcome. It's at the old MetroCast building. You're more than welcome to come on the show. I give you that invitation, and we can talk civilized. If you know what civilized is, we can talk civilized, and I'll listen to what you have to say, as long as you listen to what I have to say. We don't have to come up with any answers or any agreements on anything. But you're welcome to it. So
garbage.
That's what you can do. All right. So you must have read in the paper about the...
if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Really? That really works on it. That really works? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So what do you think? That's going to solve all our problems?
Yes.
Really? You really think that if you people out there don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? Think about the next time you're yelling at your kids. Think about the next time you're yelling at your wife or your husband. Think about the next time you're flipping off the driver in front of you. And on and on and on and on. If everybody said nothing because they didn't have anything nice to say, you might as well just rip your freaking tongues out. Nothing would get solved. The country would not get any better. You wouldn't know what is wrong with the country until it's too late. So, if you got nothing nice to say, or if you don't have anything to say, then don't watch the show. That's all. So you heard about the Waterford Assistant Superintendent on administrative leave. Now,
boy.
You don't really expect to hear these kind of things from Waterford. New London, yes. Waterford, no, you don't expect to hear this. So this guy is suspended with pay. He had a base salary of $192,813 in 2020 and earned $206,891 last year. So this guy, I don't know the whole... I don't know if this Facebook, somebody posted after this story hit the paper, and they posted on Facebook. So I'm not sure how true this is, but I believe he's walked before he got caught for molesting young kids. Now, this is what I'm hearing. It's not my words. It's just what I'm hearing. Some woman wrote on Facebook that when she was a minor at the school, he molested her. Now, my question to that was, why didn't you come forward? But I imagine there's a lot involved in a situation like that I don't have the expertise to really explain. I know how I would feel if it was my daughter. We won't even go any further than that. But why is so much of this stuff happening? We had a lot of it happen in our schools, and it's probably still going on. And why do schools insist on hiding the facts? Why? This person, if this is all true, which trust me, we'll find out as the time goes on. If it turns out to be all true that he was molesting kids, he can't have a leg to stand on if the school comes right out and says, hey, we're letting him go because of reports of him molesting children. And if they would do that, first of all, I think it would stop some of these administrators and teachers from doing anything like this. But nobody says it. It's like the Catholic Church, you know?
They all protect their own around here.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't help us. It doesn't protect us. It doesn't protect our children. All it does is protect themselves, and it keeps the money rolling in.
When you live in the land of the cronies, that's what happens.
It's got to change, folks. I mean, if you have 4 or 5 kids in a school that get molested, that's 4 or 5 kids that probably might not come back from it. It could ruin, if it doesn't, ruin their lives and the parents' lives. And then you get into the people who knew about it in the schools and said nothing. That's even worse. So I think we will find out in the next coming days what exactly this guy did. And, I don't know. So state employees unions reached a tentative contract deal with Lamont. I never realized how many different unions there were in the state of Connecticut, but there's a lot. 35 state employee bargaining units. That's a lot. Tentative deal which would affect about 43,000 employees. And they claim it's a great deal, and they'll tell us about it later. You like that, later? How come we, as the public, can't see and vote on these kind of contracts? Why? Why can't, when they come up with a deal and they say, all right, we're going to do this with the union guys, and they're going to give us this, and this, why can't we vote on that? I mean, it's our money. I know it sounds like everything to me is money, but it is our money. So if Lamont decides to give, who knows how many, I heard something about thousands of dollars per person. If he wants to do that, shouldn't we get to vote on that? Lamont revisited budget proposals for the fiscal year beginning January 1st. The first year, most of these agreements would affect includes $171 million in state reserve for salary adjustments. Salary adjustments? You know, before this piece of crap became president, Trump, you probably wouldn't have had as much of this going on because people were doing good. So you wouldn't have to. But now with things, prices and everything going up through the roof, there's also, a positive reason why this is happening. People probably do need more money. But some of them are living really, really nice. And who is Biden to include $171 million, the state's reserve, without asking the public what we think about it? Because he knows what the answer would probably be. Do you think that's fair? How would you like it? Okay, you got a married couple, and the old man decides to take $40,000 out of their bank account and go out and buy a brand new truck and not tell the wife. He just goes and does it. Would that be fair? Would you be okay with that? No, you wouldn't, especially the wife. But he has the power to do this. The governor also proposed carrying forward $75 million from the current fiscal year for recruitment incentives and to fund hazard or premium pay for frontline workers who risk their health during the COVID pandemic. The COVID pandemic is pretty much over. So, it's you people were heroes that worked through that. And you deserve all the praise you can get. But you were working, you got paid. Some of you got extra money. Most people didn't have a job. And now he wants to give you all money. You know what this is? And I know you folks out there know this. This is a way of including a group of people to back what he wants to do. That's what it is. Let's see. Shit.
What's that? That's not nice.
So they think 12,000 employees, or roughly 1/4 of the workforce, will be eligible to retire this spring or summer. They're going to have some nice benefits when they retire. Alrighty. Now let's see. What time is it? Okay. Time's going slow. I like that. Now I'm going to do what I do a lot, and that is go to the phone, because I got a lot of stuff on this phone that I like to talk about, and I don't know if all of you are aware of it. So we'll go to my file cabinet, and we'll move on to, let's see. Oh. So there's an article on Newsmax, I believe it is, or one of them. This woman requests...
Newsmax is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if this is Newsmax or... I think... Yeah, no, it's Newsbreak. Okay. This woman requests that her husband pay her $50,000 to compensate for her salary, her lost salary after childbirth. What do you folks think about that? Should a husband pay his wife for lost salaries when she was pregnant? I mean, I'm sure it was a two-way deal, and I'm sure it was two people that come up with the idea to have a kid most of the time, not all the time. So, what if the old man isn't making $50,000? Or what about all these fathers out there that have kids and they're nowhere to be found, and they don't pay anything? So what? So the Democrats are going to get together with their special little groups, all those woke folks, and they're going to say, hey, I think we should spend $20 trillion and pay all these women $50,000 that don't have a husband because, well, they could have made money if they didn't get pregnant. Come on, folks. Don't you think this is kind of ridiculous? I know some of you women out there probably don't, but... So there's another story I'll probably talk about next week. It's I think it's a pretty interesting one. It's about human evolution, and they talk about the largest ever family tree reveals our species as humans mostly started in northern Africa. So guess what, bro? Guess what? We're all the same inside. Isn't that freaking amazing? I have some of your blood. You have some of my blood. We all got each other's blood. Maybe that explains the way to why. Now I know. This is why the world is what it is today. Because we're all related. You know what happens when you're related and you produce kids? So that's what's going on. I'm kidding about that last part. So countries in Africa do not want green energy. They need coal and oil for them to survive.
Where?
In Africa. A lot of African ministers...
There's tons of coal out there.
Oh, I know there is.
There's like endless amounts of coal. And you know what? This whole, what do you call it? Global warming thing?
Yeah,
we had, in the past 6 months, we had 2 major volcanoes blow off a bunch of light blocking particles into the sky. So all right, volcanoes, when they blow up and they put all this ash into the sky, there's tiny little minuscule particles that make their way up into the upper atmosphere that block
Sunlight?
the sunlight that heats the atmosphere. So the Earth, in its own way, has its ability to counteract all the carbon dioxide? No. All our carbon emissions.
Yeah, it keeps them down. They can't escape.
Before the world was pumping out billions of tons of carbon, when a volcano went off, before we were burning any fossil fuels, when a volcano erupted, it caused a 1 to 2 degree temperature drop global.
If it was big enough.
The past 2 volcano eruptions have been big enough.
Really?
Yes.
How come we haven't heard more about them?
Because you're watching cable TV. if you're paying, you know what? That's a whole nother thing I'd like to get into.
We could do a whole show.
All right,
on just
so
that.
I don't pay for cable TV. I won't pay for cable TV. I don't watch CNN. I don't want to get lied to on a consistent basis. There's this thing called a Roku and a news agency called Newsmax. I highly suggest you invest and engage and get it and watch it.
Now that you mentioned cable, are you done?
No, I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a whole nother subject. Are you even paying attention to? There's this awesome Facebook group called New London Strong. Are you on it?
I see it.
Okay.
I'm not a member or anything, but I see it.
There's a situation that got posted to the group. It is exploding with comments. It's about how a young child got into a mental health crisis and went to Lawrence Memorial Hospital. And apparently, Lawrence Memorial Hospital has this jail-like psychiatric ward that they put you in when you first come to the hospital.
I was talking about that earlier.
All right.
It blew my mind.
All right. So we're talking like a sand-weighted bed and concrete walls and a steel door. Why would you take a minor, a young child, and even consider thinking about putting them in such a room?
Well, it can't help.
No,
it can't help at all.
You don't take a child. Listen, Lawrence Memorial Hospital. In my personal opinion and views, you guys are douchebags. You don't take someone's child and put them in a concrete room with a steel door, even if it's for 30 minutes. You just don't do something like that. If you did that to my child because they were having some mental breakdown and needed psychiatric help, man, I'd be beating someone's ass.
All right.
You don't do that.
No, you don't. But
you don't.
You got to understand the other side of the coin.
What other side of the coin? It's a child.
Yeah, but not those places. It hasn't been built just for children.
No, they have.
You have some people that come in there that are so violent that, someone's going to get seriously hurt.
Yeah, but
until they can calm them down or figure out what to do for them, they got to put it somewhere. Now,
but
maybe
you don't put a child in that environment.
Okay,
period.
We know that, and any parent that would let that happen needs to be put in the room with them.
They couldn't. They were in the room with them. Okay, in New London Strong, there's this huge discussion going on.
Yes.
Very, very active thread. And multiple people have contacted me directly saying they want to talk about this. They are upset. They had their children put in this concrete walled steel door room with psychiatric patients who are adults next door flipping out, and the child being exposed to this.
You know what I think?
That is unacceptable.
Okay, you know what I think should happen?
And that's all I got to say.
If the hospital gets wind of this, what they should do is invite you and I to check this place out and take pictures.
Yeah.
I think.
What
Now,
would you, Lawrence Memorial Hospital, what would you be afraid of? Let us come in there with a camera and show people what you're putting children into, even if it's for half an hour. It's not acceptable for 30 seconds.
Don't. Calm down,
I
K-Man.
know. You don't do this to a child.
There's lots of things you don't do to a child, including
A concrete room
molesting
with a
them in a
steel
school.
door?
Well, how do we know it's concrete?
It's a kid.
How do you know it's concrete with a steel door?
Because I've been talking in direct messages with two separate parents that had to bring their kids there. And they explained to me exactly what their child had to experience.
It'd be nice to have one of them parents call. All right, let's move on.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, for all you homeowners, trust me, this is going to seem like a cakewalk after what we just were discussing. Sidewalk maintenance and snow removal responsibilities. Now, I know everybody's heard about that. Not anybody. A lot of people don't pay any attention to it. And but you don't realize, as a homeowner or a store owner, you're responsible for something that happens on that sidewalk if you don't maintain it. One of the things they talk about is the homeowner / renter. Now, if you're living in a house or in an apartment, it's up to the renters to clear them sidewalks. I know. It says here that in front of their house or debris, overgrowth, and snow within a reasonable amount of time. They don't say what a reasonable amount of time is. This includes overgrown bushes and vines that impede access to the sidewalk by walkers, carriages, strollers, and young bicyclists. Now, wait a minute. I agree with this 100%. I keep my sidewalk clean because I've fallen on it on the snow and the ice before, and it does not feel good. I don't want somebody suing me, and that's what can happen. Now, another thing is when you pull up to a corner in your car and you can't see down the road, or if you're walking and you get to that corner, you have to step out into the road to get by the hedges, they need to be taken care of. So, Mr. Blightman, I don't know what kind of citations you're handing out, but you need to take a walk around town and get these people that have the hedges that are growing over where you have to step into the street to walk, or the sidewalks aren't clear, and you need to step in the street, and that's the worst time to do that.
I'm trying to pull up a photo right now.
Okay.
On State Street.
Oh, State Street.
Oh, I got it.
Show them.
All right, let me switch to my screen. Hold on, man. I don't know what I'm doing here. All right, so this is State Street, and I shared this photo with Whale's Tale 2, and this is a business, a bar that was shut down or terminated its business, and the property owners can you see?
I see it.
All right. Listen, I walked across this, and you know what I saw next at this location? All right, this is what got my attention.
Oh, the
158 State Street. All right, solid ice. Melissa slipped and fell on her ass. Okay, because these people can't take the time to shovel the 15 feet of sidewalk they have in front of their business.
Hey, you're talking to the choir here. I agree. But the one question I do have about this article is that business even open?
No, it's closed. It's dead.
So whoever owns it, if they still own it, should be responsible.
I'll tell you who's responsible. Hold on. 168 Main LLC is responsible for this property.
Then Melissa should have turned around and sued their ass. Somebody's going to
She
sue
didn't
their
get hurt,
ass.
but
well,
she could have.
You know, sometimes this happens and you don't feel hurt right away, and then later down the line. So I guess basically you'd have to go to the hospital and then take all them bills and send it to these people. And the city, the blight officer that's making good money, should be on top of this stuff. And then somebody said, well, he's overworked. Really?
Yeah,
We'll hire somebody else to help him.
Hey, 168 Main LLC, shovel your frickin' sidewalk, you goons.
Don't get nasty. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. That
I
can
had to
nasty.
slip across this crap too.
I know.
Shovel your goddamn sidewalk. I mean, what is the issue with shoveling 15 feet of sidewalk? Are you that lazy?
Did we get any comments about the wife wanting to sue the husband for $50,000?
No, not yet.
Okay.
The only thing we had was Michelle Holocom that said this is garbage.
All right, so here's something else. This is how two-faced, how not caring about you. This Dem representative backed the funding police, but spent $5,000 on security in 2021. And you know where that $50,000 came from? That $50,000 came from us. Because these people, this is another reason that these politicians don't seem alarmed at the price of gas or the food stuff, especially gas, because probably most of these politicians are not paying for their gas. You're paying for it. Any national senator, congressman, representative, whoever else, they're not paying for the gas. You're paying for the gas. They can pull up to the special pump like here in New London with the police and whoever else works for the city. They got their own little gas station. And we all pay for it. I don't know. I don't know, folks. Oh, another thing. When we get rid of Biden and Giggles Harris, take Schumer with you. And take Nancy Pelosi, too. If she has one more facelift, the back of her head is going to be on the front of her face. Okay, so Biden announces $2.6 billion request to promote gender equality on International Women's Day. Now, last week I went into this thing about Women's Day, Black History Month, and all those initials that means they're gay in some form or another month. And I'm going to pick a month for white people. I'm serious. I'm going to pick a month. It's going to be History Month, and it's going to be for us. We're going to have our own parade. We're going to have, I don't know what else, but I'm working on it. All right? And if you want to consider that a racial thing, you can. But it's only fair. The only way this country is ever going to get better is everything is done fairly. And believe me, there's no way near fairness going on in this country.
Hey, can I play a very important video?
What is it?
It's Felicia Stevens. Yeah. You know who she is?
Yeah.
All right. She, other than COVID slaughtering her business because of all these COVID restrictions that our CDC and local politics or politicians have placed upon businesses without thinking about what the consequences are. A beautiful person like this has lost their love, joy, and business. And here she is. Let me click over real quick.
Play that.
I'm going to go ahead and play this. Well. Whoops.
We're going out of business. So the last part of that is selling everything off. We're officially closed for services, but everything has to be sold. We have a plethora of art supplies, office supplies, furniture, everything that comes with having a space for 12 years. So please stop on by, shop, say hello. If you make a purchase, I'm giving away artwork for anybody who makes any purchase to help out that last stretch. We'll be doing this till March 18th. For hours, check on our Facebook or just follow us for postings daily. For more information, you want to call us at 860-326-7246 or just message me on Facebook, and most of you know how to contact me. But I hope to see you all soon, and thank you so much for all your support over the years. See ya.
Okay, that video, I don't know if you caught the gist of what she was doing, but it was a place where artists in town, or from anywhere really, could go and do their artwork, whatever kind of artwork it was. They could sit back with a glass of wine while they were working and stuff. It was a place, a gathering place. And for all the artists we have in this city, I am surprised that they didn't come forward. When you go to council meetings and you see when all the nonprofits come in, and I don't know if, I imagine this is some kind of profit business, but still that doesn't matter. This was a great business, a great idea for the city of New London, and it doesn't look like she got any kind of help to keep her business going. This is another example what things go on in New London. Another great business leaving or shut down in this case. Now, I hope she goes somewhere else and opens it up again. Maybe someplace like Old Lyme or Mystic. Mystic would be a great place. A lot of artists in Mystic. She'll probably do really well. But people in London, especially the ones that were there, saw this coming. They had to see it coming. And none of them spoke up about it. None of them tried to get some kind of help of anything, tried to get a grant or something. And maybe it's because it was a profit-making business, which obviously it wasn't making money. This pandemic this pandemic has hurt so many people of all ages. And now we're finding out more and more that it wasn't anything like what we were led to believe. A lot of people still think that it's still brainwashing, and they think that, if you don't wear a mask or you don't do this, you don't do that, you're going to get it. No, there is. You'd be surprised at people out there. I went into a gas station today, and I was talking with the girl behind the counter, and she was wearing a mask. So I said, why are you wearing a mask? She goes, well, it's my own choice, first of all. She goes, but I don't have a spleen anymore, so I don't want to take the chance of catching anything. So I wear a mask. Understandable. I get that.
The mask does not stop the spread of COVID. It doesn't.
How many people out there believe it does? Do you have any idea? You still. This is what makes me crazy. I put on, and this is coming from Newsmax, which blows my mind too. I turn on the TV. I go to Newsmax. The minute that station comes into focus, every time it's a commercial about now's the time and go and get vaccinated before you'll have to pay for it. Now's the time to go and keep your family safe and your neighbors safe. And the whole time this commercial's going on, K-Man, not one person's wearing a mask.
No.
So,
I know.
All right.
It's frustrating.
It is, and I can understand why some people have decided to just take a gun and do it in.
Currently, 8:01 p.m. here on the East Coast.
One more thing.
I don't know where you guys are watching from, but
I want to show you something. Not show you something, but tell you something. Okay. This is, they claim this is a Trump-era national security officer suggested the U.S. deploy all its ballistic missiles, submarines, to see whether Putin is really bluffing. I don't care who they are. So you're going to take someone that's probably half off his rocker to begin with, and you're going to surround them with nuclear weapons, and then to see if he's really bluffing about using nuclear weapons? And that thing K-Man mentioned earlier about the supersonic missiles, we don't have any. Russia has them, but we don't. You know why? Because Obama probably decided we didn't want to have them anymore to show our good faith towards Russia. I don't know. I don't know what to leave you with. I don't have anything good to leave you with. I'm sorry. I will try to do a show in the near future with nothing but good stuff, if I can find enough stuff. Folks, don't be stupid out there. Use your common sense. It didn't cost you anything. It was free. Actually, it was something that was free where not everybody else is paying for free. So use it. Just don't take things for granted because they're a Democrat or they're a Republican. Look at it. Break it down. Think of what the repercussions could be from some of the decisions that the people we are paying are making. And you can just stop by in New London alone. And when you drive down the road, remember, only drive on the paved side of the road. No, I don't really mean that. Don't do that. But I would like to see our tax dollars go to fixing our roads. I mean, we've been giving money to everybody else. It's time to give money back to us. And new roads would be a perfect start. All right. I don't know how to shut this menagerie of electronical stuff, but I'm done for the night. I wish you all a safe night. And remember, I don't know what the hell we're calling the show now. Wayland City News or something like that, but this is Dennis from New London. I have a show tomorrow night on, well, it's supposed to be Access TV. It was Atlantic Broadband. Now it's some other friggin' name. But anyways, it's on tomorrow. I don't know who I'll have as a guest. And it's a live call-in show, so you'll be able to call me. And then you can tell me that it's a bunch of garbage live, which is okay. But give it a check out, 7 o'clock, Channel 25. And with that, good night. Remember,
Who watches?
5 people.
Who watches? Who's got cable TV anymore?
Do you know that the cable stations want to increase their fees to cover the losses by people using the computer? Or the
Look at everybody. Face palm.
All right.
No. Get back on the mic. What are you doing?
I'm done. I gotta go home.
You gotta go home.
Yeah, I gotta go home.
Yeah.
I got a wife.
Crazy people.
Hang on.
Good night, everybody.
Next time I'm gonna open the show, I'm gonna say.
Tell you a little story about a place in Connecticut called Norwich. We all know what Norwich means. That's the place where all the crazy people used to hang out. Well, one time they had a place called the Norwich State Hospital where they kept all the crazy people from all over the world. And they were all stationed there just being crazy as always. And then they headed out north. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Well, at the time, we had a governor in the state of Connecticut that decided he wanted to save some money. So he decided he was going to close down this hospital and kick all those crazy people to the curb. Well, he did, and they started traveling north. North, towards Norwich. Well, they just kept on moving. We didn't know where they came from. We didn't know where they were going. But they were here, all for us. Hey! The crazy people! The crazy people! The crazy people! Oh, yeah! there was 3 young gentlemen running out the back of it. They were the craziest of them all. Well, they were a group called the White Man Down Group, and they were heading down to their local pub to play some really shit-ass kicking music. Because that's usually what they played, and that's what got them stuck in the hospital to begin with. They're playing that funky-ass music. Hey! The crazy people! The crazy people!